Hey everyone, welcome back to Butterfly Infinity, where we alchemize change and transformation into evolution. I am back for your daily reading. We will be doing a reading in career and finances today. I will be starting off with the nature deck. We will move into clarifiers, and then we will end with some cards of encouragement. All right, let's get the reading started. Angels, ancestors, spirit guides, what the collective benefit from knowing at this time right now? What aspects of nature would help them on their financial journey in their careers at this time? Let's put that there. At the bottom of the deck, we have Jack in the Pulpit, conditionality. I believe that this card is asking you to look at how you show up, what conditions you might have acquired over the years. Sometimes we don't know how we do specific things, but we do them the same way. It's part of our conditioning. We've been conditioned to do things a specific way. It could be from the way that we were raised, but Spirit is asking you to observe those conditions that you may have. Some of them may be outdated. You may be needing to adjust, get rid of some of them, add on to some of them as far as your conditions go, because how you show up will influence how you're able to get things done. You know, we can always get things done, but sometimes there is an easier way. Sometimes there are better attitudes. Sometimes there are better mindsets that will assist us in getting things done more efficiently, more effectively. All right, so that was at the bottom of the deck. And then the other cards that came out was Tulip. And then we have this card, which to me is the author writing a book card. This is adaptability. We have the rose for love. And then we have loyalty showing up with the dog card. Okay. So right off the bat, Spirit is making us aware that there is something that you could have been needing to write, or that you have been planning to write, urge to share experiences, biographies, blogs. Spirit is saying you need to pay attention to those things that you have been given to write down. Also, you may be guided to take notes or study. I like to write a lot. Like, I fill up notebooks of just taking notes. At your job, you may be needing to start to watch and take notes to learn and study. Or, like I said, first off, this is my author card. So you could be being called to share your story. You can be being called to write that biography, write something that has been on your heart, something that has been on your mind. And Spirit is telling you to pay attention to that. So those urges where you feel like, oh, I might need to write that down, or sometimes you'll hear something and you'll be like, okay, I wonder if I'll remember that later. You might not remember it later. Spirit is urging you to write it down. Okay, so let's move on to the next two cards. Coyote, adaptability, and love with the rose. And then the loyalty with the dog. So with the adaptability, And the love card, I'm getting that you may go through a period where there are some things that you thought you loved about the career that you might not love anymore. And you might need to adapt it to fit where you are. Because sometimes we don't or outgrow specific things, like as far as career. Like I said, it could be have been something that you loved, but as we grow, we evolve and we start to love different things. We are attracted to different things, and just in general. However, Spirit is urging you to adapt. Sometimes you don't have to get rid of something altogether. There can be a way that you can modify what you have loved, and you can adapt it to still incorporate your values and what you were drawn to in the first place. And so Spirit is asking you, don't completely drop what you love. Stay loyal to what you love, because that's important to truly seek out your desires. And like the saying goes, do what you love. So don't stay loyal. Stay loyal to what you know that you're supposed to be doing. Stay loyal if you feel like you are at the career where you need to be. However, there might be some adaptations that just need to be made in order to make it more fitting for where you are now. Okay, so that's what our nature deck has to tell us. I said I was going to get some clarifiers. However, well, we can get some clarifiers. I was going to initially clarify each card, but we're not going to do that. So, angels, ancestors, spirit guides, would you like to clarify this message from the nature deck? And you all see that card wanted to keep coming out and I put it back in. So basically, okay. So at the bottom of the deck, we have Ace of Pentacles, which means that Spirit is ushering in a brand new opportunity that will provide you with generational wealth, infinite abundance. So I'm always happy when I see this card. It is such a good card and such a beautiful message, especially, like I said, dealing with finances. So there's just maybe some adjustments that you need to make, and that's going to usher in this Ace of Pentacles. That's generational wealth. That's wealth that does not go away. It passes down. So it looks like maybe these adaptations that you need to make, altering things, or not acting on writing that book or biography. Like, okay, this is very clear. You are being called to action. You are being called to action. And you know what happens when we don't respond to the call? Because, see, a lot of us are being chosen at this time. Even it took me some time to get on here and start to share and do what I love, which is this. I was being called to action. And I know that it might take some time. But if you're reading this and reading and watching this, the Spirit is urging you to get started. Get started. Share. If you had a book on your heart, if you had a blog on your heart, if you feel like you can't get in front of the camera and talk, you need to write. Write and share. Post a picture of the best fitting image you think fits your words. But because this is, like I said, that's the author card. That's the writer card that came out. You're being called to action. And so ultimately, Spirit is not going to let up. Spirit is like telling everybody, like, get to work. Like, so the Nine of Swords means that you may have experienced some anxiety, some depression, just overwhelming thoughts, intrusive thoughts in your mind, preventing you from getting a good night rest of sleep, preventing you from thinking about anything else. Of course, we know when we don't get adequate sleep, we are not able to function properly. And also, Spirit wants to let you know that any barriers or any hindrances that you are, that you could be experiencing, that, how can I say this? Because I try to look for the words, but I'm trying to avoid like long, awkward gaps in this when I'm trying to read these cards. Any self-imposed limitations. Because the Eight of Swords is like, the rope is loose. The swords are not penetrating her. They are not, she's not being cut. She's not being harmed. She can walk through them. She can get the rope off of her. In my other deck, the Eight of Swords is energy wrapped in tissue paper. Like, so what I'm trying to say is the limitations that you may be placing on yourself that has been keeping you in this Nine of Swords are illusions. They are, and so when you deal with negative thoughts, like, oh, what if this doesn't go right? Then you have to cancel them out with, oh, what if this does go right? You have to be balanced. You have to be balanced. If you're going to think of all the negative things that can happen, you have to think of all the positive things that can happen. Because if you don't, you will find yourself in a Nine of Swords energy, where it just starts, all the negativity just starts to pile up, sword after sword after sword, and you can't sleep because it's mental anguish. And so recognize that this Eight of Swords is a mental thing. It's a mental battle. It's all in your mind. It's all about your perspective, how you are going to use your mind and the resources Spirit has already provided for you to move forward. Because literally all you would need is a phone. All you would need, literally, and we all have that. All you would need is a phone in order to write your story, write that blog, author the book. All you need is your phone. All you need is a pad and a pencil. Be practical here. You're being called to action. So with it, in whatever way that you know that you need to get started, and we usually do know, Spirit is urging you to go ahead and get started. And like I said at the beginning, that Nine of Swords was the first one that came out. So like I said earlier with the adaptation card, you might need to adapt what you love. But until you do that, you are not going to be able to break out of that mental distraughtness. Okay, guys, so that is what we have from that deck. And then, like I said, I will close out the reading with the cards of encouragement. These are really nice cards. I really like the pictures on these cards. They just make you happy, happy, happy. At least make me happy. Okay. Angels, spirit guides, ancestors, what would the collective benefit from knowing at this time? What would encourage them on the path? I'll take these two. Towards their highest benefit in their careers and their finances. What do they need to pay attention to? What is a word of encouragement for them at this time? Okay, maybe that was it. Was at the bottom of the deck? Okay, my power lies in my peaceful presence. That's great. When you show up with peace being your main intention, that is, I believe, the way to go. Even though we know that our intentions can still be set and we have to go with the flow. But as long as your intentions were to be peaceful and you lead with that, your self-reflection will be more acceptable by you. And I know we sometimes get into a place of self-reflection. It's like, okay, well, my intention was peaceful, so I can live with that. I have peace with that. I know it could have turned out differently, different outcome. However, if I lead with peace, if I lead with righteousness, I know that my conscience is clear. All right, so the two messages that we got from this deck is I celebrate my progress, awareness, not perfection is the goal. Oh, so look at that. Like I said, these cards always seem to be tying together, and I love it. So I celebrate my progress, awareness, not perfection is the goal. Meaning, if you need to start sharing the things that you have already written, then you need to celebrate that. Even going to the store and just buying a journal and a pen to get started. Celebrate that small step. Baby steps lead to the complete picture in the end. It's all about the consistency, right? And so that's a perfect message. And then it has the ladder. Basically, what? Take it step by step. You don't have to write a book in a day. You don't have to create the blog in a day. Name the blog. Title the blog. That's one day. Write a paragraph the next day. Write another paragraph the next day. Write a conclusion the next day, right? That's usually 3 paragraphs. And then do the picture the 4th day. If it takes you a week, break it down into small things that you can do every day. And I mean small. Like I said, do like a title one day. The next day, do 5 sentences. Like, you have to make it simple. We have to be gentle with ourselves and approach ourselves like we would approach a baby or someone that we had patience with. Like, we have patience with like everyone else. You have to make sure that you still treat yourself with that level of patience and sincerity, really, guys, because we can be very critical and harsh on ourselves. So Spirit is like, celebrate where you are. Every step along the way, celebrate that. Compassion is my compass. I'm willing to hold space for the experience of others. Here with this card, I am getting more so the feeling of compassion towards self. Celebrating your progress and having compassion for where you are now and knowing that you can get to where you need to be. If you didn't act on writing those ideas down and you feel like you're lost, have some compassion with yourself and know that you can always start today. You can, because I know I had heard someone the other day talking about how they had lost a notebook, and it's like, you all, the subconscious records everything. When you go into meditation, when you ask Spirit, what is it that I would like to recall? What is it that I need to recall? It will come to you. It's not lost. Akashic Records records everything. So just have some compassion for yourself. All right, guys, that is the reading for today. If you receive value from this message, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching here at Butterfly Infinity, where we transform, where we alchemize change and transformation into evolution. All right, guys. Bye.